Hi and welcome to Add More Zest. My name's Rebecca. Happy Sunday to you all. I am finally getting to a Sunday whip and waffle. Feels like, well, it has been an eternity, unless we count June waffles as Sunday waffles, but it has been a while, a hot minute since I have worked on this. I can't remember where I was last up to, but I have done a fair amount of this. I just haven't worked on it since before I went to Australia. So I have peeled back 3 sections. I tend to find this is a nice amount to work on this and not feel as though I'm changing the colours all the time. So I'm going to uncover the 3. I'm not going to get all 3 done in this whip and waffle, but I am going to uncover 3 and we'll see how far we get. So let me zoom you in and get my, oh, there we go. That's as much as that camera will zoom in and I can get the full lot in. So even better. So yeah, Thursday's whip and waffle was a heck of a lot of moaning about tech issues. And for the eagle-eyed of you, you will notice that June waffle went up late because I had more tech issues. I lost an hour due to the software I use for my thumbnails not loading. Wasn't loading. I even downloaded the app to see if that would work, though I normally just use it straight on the web on the desktop. And yeah, it just was not working at all. Troubleshooting problems, because other people did seem to have problems over the years. Some were recent, some were older, so I was trying all sorts of different hacks. And in the end, I reached out. I finally found the chat function to actually get hold of somebody and not just fill in a form. And they said, oh yeah, it's down across the UK. Great. So yeah, basically it delayed me getting the Heaven and Earth design up on Thursday. But it did go up on Thursday. So we're going to count that as a win. We're going to hope that is all my YouTube technical issues all dealt with in one. Would be really, really nice if things could just move forward now. Both vlogs have been edited and sorted, which was the beginning of the nightmare. They have all been sorted now. Members have got access. The second half of the vlog will go up on Tuesday for you all. And yeah, I'm hoping for a productive day today with no more glitches. That's what we're going for. It's warm today here in the UK. It's muggy warm. It's even more so muggy warm. It is a bit yak, to be honest. But so far in this craft room, it is quite cool. So I'm hoping to get 2 videos filmed today. Yeah, hopefully, but we shall see. We'll see how muggy it gets. We're starting with a whip and waffle, and we're starting with 310. Lots and lots of 310 on this one, or especially in this sort of section when it comes to the trees. So I'm starting off by multi-placing where I can, and then I will go it until my tray sort of looks like it's not giving me lots of multi-placing options is what I'm going for. So this is my tray at the moment. I haven't transferred like a huge amount into my tray because I like to, oh hang on, I've ended up picking up 2 instead of 3. Yeah, I like to sort of use up the tray doing as much multi-placing as I can, and then I like to single place for a little bit just to sort of fill in all those holes that you end up with from multi-placing, and then I'll tip more into my tray if I need more. But I've got quite a few little single bits around here that will need sorting at some point, so we'll see how much we can multi-place. First, might have to give the tray another little shake in a moment. I've just done it again, picked up 2 instead of 3. I do find that with 310, I look at it and I see 2, and then as soon as I go to place them down, I realise it's actually 3, especially when it's next to this arrow symbol. But luckily there's plenty of other places that I can multi-place a higher amount. In fact, let's do some single placing before I move on. So I've just realised that this is sort of this whole bottom section done in the black, so I'm going to fill in all the gaps and then I'm going to move on to the next section. The section within the section, and I'll feel as though I'm less likely to miss some, though I probably still will miss some, and I'll probably spot them when I do the arrows next. But yeah, let's have a look. Okay, are you connecting to the internet now? Yes. Just gone to pull up all the comments, and I must have been connected to the Wi-Fi in the shop, and it doesn't reach as far as in here. So my computer had a little paddy, but I think it's sorted itself out now. Connected back to the house, so we can get to comments and questions, or at least we can once I have finished this single placing. Have I got any more around here? No, I do have one there though that's going to need it. So we'll do that one, tip in a bit more because we're moving on to onto this up part or upper part of this section. But Becky, she says she's glad that I am back with the whip and waffles. She says also that I had a wonderful time. She says with visiting the family in Australia. She says she hopes that everything gets sorted out quickly. She says, and that you are able to get EU shipping. She says, one question, she says, how long do you anticipate the Advent pre-order to last? The Advent pre-order, we are expecting that to last a bit less than a month this time. So we're releasing it a little bit later than normal at the beginning of August. But we do find there can sometimes be confusion with our normal pre-order offer, which is that you don't pay shipping on the Advent. We haven't yet confirmed that that will be this year's offer, but we just need to run final figures. We're a bit behind on stuff this year. But yeah, there's always confusion, and people then order with other items and then wonder why it's not all shipped or why it's not been shipped separately. So we do try to put up like a little pop-up box for people to confirm that they realise that everything will get shipped together. But it definitely seems to cause more confusion, and most people who are placing pre-orders will place pre-orders within the first 2 weeks normally. So yeah, we're having it, I think it's a smidge less than a month, and we're thinking of taking the pre-order off just before our next launch of new items, and then of course we'll bring it back the month after as the actual launch. That's our thoughts anyway. So yeah, it's going to be just a bit less than a month, we think, for pre-order, unless of course stock goes quicker, and then that always changes everything anyway, because we do a certain amount of stock for pre-order, and then we have a general amount left to the side, depending on EU shipping as well. So if something happens with EU shipping that delays it, then we may end up having 2 batches of pre-orders. It's all just a little bit not set in stone yet. Lady Dax, she says, it's great to have me back. And she says, I'm so pleased that I had a great trip to Oz. Thank you. She said, it's been a crazy June here. She said they've had the pup. Oh, brave soldier. I do not want to go back to puppy time in any way whatsoever. She says, back with all through June, and he doesn't go home until the beginning of August. Oof. She says they are both shattered and need a rest. I'm not surprised. She says their cats are little angels compared to a 6-month-old lab puppy. Yes, which I am not surprised at all. I think puppy days, it's one of those things that you quite often forget how hard it can be. How so hard it can be. I mean, Luna's 3 now, and I still, 3.5, and I still remember the puppy days. But yeah, it is a tough time, that's for sure. KS says, hi Rebecca, says welcome back. So did you get any letters done while you were there? No. So I did take my Paint Gem alphabet set with me, just in case there was any sort of downtime where I wanted to or was able to get some diamond painting done. But no, I didn't get any done while I was there at all. Just busy visiting family and chatting and things, really. Like even my mum diamond paints. So she had her diamond painting out because it stays out for her until she's ready to do it. But like even when I was at my mum's, she didn't do any diamond painting either. We were just too busy chatting and doing other stuff. So I have not got any of my letters done. They just came back with me in exactly the same state they went. But hey ho, that's the way things go sometimes. I did get a bit of reading in though. So I did have my Kindle. I do take my Kindle with me when I go to Australia. Primarily for the flights is the main reason I take it. But I did get a bit of reading time in while I was there. But to be honest, I wasn't either on my phone or reading or anything like that pretty much my whole visit. It just too busy catching up with everybody. Okay, I think I've got all the black. I say think because this is probably one of the colours that I always end up finding afterwards. Okay, let's go for the arrows. So I'm going for all the white symbols first because they tend to be the darker ones, the darker colours. And the white symbols pop a little bit more. So I'm getting all those completed first, and then I'll see. I think I'll go by which symbol jumps out at me until it gets to the point of being a little bit bitty. And then I might, pick a symbol that fills the most gaps. Tends to be the way I like to work on this one, is all the white symbols and then the ones that jump out at me, and then I'll get to a point where it's like, okay, there's too many of this symbol all over the place. So I'll start filling in gaps. Kim, she says, welcome back. She says, let us know how your mum and your sister liked their quilts. Yeah, they absolutely loved them. I think I did touch on this in the last one, but yes, my mum is extremely happy with her quilts. It matches her bedroom, which I knew it would because that was the colours I picked. It's her favourite colours, which is pale blue with a hint of pink. And there's not a huge amount of pink in her bedroom, but there is enough for it to all coordinate. And my sister absolutely loved hers. She is over the moon because she was very jealous of a friend's quilts, a friend that they go camping with often. So she's very excited that she now has her own, because as good of friends as they are, they don't tend to share their quilt the same. So now she has her own. She said, have you started working on your mum's bag, or are you just too busy for that right now? Far too busy for that. I have, though, having said that, we did pick up some sort of crossbody bags which are very similar to the pattern. We did pick up some while we were in Kaiser. So I knew I wanted to pick up another bag from Kaiser. It's crossbody style. I got my last one the last time I was in Australia, which was about 2.5 years ago. It's my daily bag. I use it all the time, and it was showing signs of wear. So I knew I wanted to pick up another one while I was there, and I did pick up one when shopping with Caris, and then we nipped somewhere with my mum and dad, and it had a Kaiser there as well, and they actually had 70% off some of them. So they were $9, which works out $9 Australian dollars, which works out as £4.50 each. So I picked up all 3 designs they had in the sale. And yeah, ended up coming home with 4 of them. So now I can change them about according to, you know, maybe what goes best with colour of outfit and things. My mum ended up picking up 2, only because the 3rd one that I got was the last one. So yeah, at the moment I think she's good for a crossbody bag. That will be a very much in the future thing. I have a few things that I want to do for myself. I just haven't had any quilting time recently at all, and probably won't have any substantial amount of time for the next couple of months. I might be able to get the odd day in here or there, but I can't see me being extremely productive with quilts at the moment. She also says, Kim says she has only 3 more days left of the Diamond Art Studio floral surprise. Oh, I can't wait to do my floral surprise again. I need to finish this one first though. It's what I do in between finishing this one. Before I start my next one. That's when I get sort of a full row done. I'm itching to do it. Itching. But she says, so she should be able to watch my completion video whenever I get to it. Yes, definitely. You will definitely have to be able to watch my completion video. You will be well and truly completed before I am. She said it has also been miserably hot where she is in Indiana. She says, of course, she has central air conditioning, so she's comfortable until the electric bill comes. So true. We do have a portable air conditioner unit. I know one day last week, I think I put it on at 10 in the morning, because I was like, do you know what? It's going to do nothing but get warmer. Let's get this all set up and done so that it's ready. And I ended up switching it on and did not turn it off until probably 10 o'clock at night. So I'm not looking forward to my bill either. Okay, I just got that one because there was only one of them. And then I'm between doing the letter H, which is the next darkest one, but I might actually do this arrow first because I feel like this little arrow symbol in the grey, if I do all the H first and then do the arrow, I think it's going to get lost within the diamonds and I think I'm going to struggle to see it more. So I'm going to get this one done while they're a little bit more visible, and then I'll do the H, which surrounds them all anyway. But this is definitely a scattered one. Liv, she says, welcome back. She says she hopes that we had a lovely time together, which we did, thank you. And she says she loves a ginormous to-do list. I do when there's only small things on it. So when it's quickly able to be completed things, then I love a massive to-do list. Because, you know, you can sort of spend 5 minutes and then tick it off, and 5 minutes and tick it off, and, you know, 10 minutes maybe on one and then tick that off, and you can get through a really good list in a day. And I do really enjoy that type of list. Unfortunately, I seem to have completed most of those quick things off my list recently. I did end up getting quite a few of the quicker things off at the beginning, but my list is still rather big, and a lot of things now are half a day type tasks. So anyway, it keeps me busy. It's all good. But yeah, it's not as an enjoyable a massive to-do list as some of them are. Maybe I should just make it even bigger and break down everything on the list into smaller bits and just make it an even more ginormous list, but at least they can get completed in a few minutes each. Maybe that'll make me feel as though I'm getting somewhere. Who knows? Who knows? Noreen, she says she's glad that I had a lovely holiday. She says she's always nervous to buy from the UK. She says she got a huge custom charge the last time she bought a diamond painting. She says what with the exchange rate from the sterling to the Irish euro and customs, she says it was equal to a diamond painting. Yes, that can always be the thing when ordering from abroad. I do completely get that. I mean, that's the customs is something like I've always factored in every time I buy something from abroad, because we're subject to it too. Now, a lot of places now include it when we buy it rather than us getting it charged when it comes into the country, which is both good and bad. So it's good in the fact that we know the price before we buy, like the complete price before we buy, which is good. And we don't get, because we're not getting charged when it comes into the country, we don't get that extra admin fee that the courier likes to charge, which could be anything, you know, £10, £15 admin fee. We don't get charged that because we've paid it when we've bought it. So that's good. However, it used to be that we'd often get quite a few orders that even though I factored in the customs charge. They didn't actually get charged customs at the border, like they just came straight through. So therefore I would get them for the cheaper price. That doesn't happen anymore. But yeah, customs is always a thing, and all I can suggest is that you factor in customs with the price of everything from the off, and maybe by shopping in the likes of sales, you'll be able to get them at a price that works for you. And then if you do get a shipment that actually skips customs, you can do a happy dance. Though I must say the Irish border is pretty on it. They're pretty fussy on a lot of things as well, and reject things just because they feel like it, not because there's anything wrong with them, just because they feel like it. So they can be a bit of a pain in that front. But yeah, it's always a hard thing from buying abroad. But of course, in your own country, that's already factored into the cost, because that's costs of business that you have to factor in, and that we have to factor in for UK taxes too, which I actually submitted mine this morning, which is not fun. But due to the amount of deliveries we've had that I've had to pay customs and VAT on, I think the VAT man actually owed me a little bit of money. Not a lot, but a little bit this time, which is always a bonus. It won't stay that way for long. It won't be the same way next time, but I'll take the little wins when I get them. Liv, she says, it's funny, she says, when she chats with her brother and family, she says, and they all have their shorts and t-shirts on, and it's winter over there. Yes, because they still have 20-degree days in winter. It's night times that it's bitterly cold, I'd say, in Australia. It's night times that you feel it more. But there was quite a few nice days. I don't know whether I personally would have gone to shorts, but it was definitely, you know, a lot warmer than a UK winter. I wouldn't class it as it's a real winter to Australians, but it's not a real winter to us hardened UK lot, or even Canadians that deal with snow, etc. all the time. Yeah, it's a different kind of winter. It's a lot nicer kind of winter. That's for sure. She says she can't get her head around it. She says it'll be very strange. She says when it is Christmas time and it's summer for them. Yes, that is one of the things that's always been a little bit weird, I think, for my family over there. Like, they've got used to it now, but I think that was one of the sort of mini little culture shocks, I suppose, was Christmas in summer. Like, my brother lives right near the ocean. Well, in fact, my parents do as well. But in the area that my brother lives, Santa actually comes to the beach on a boat on Christmas morning. So they go down to the beach Christmas morning to meet Santa coming in. It's like the whole concept just completely baffles me, because of course here it's flipping freezing is what it is. It's cold and you're just waiting for your Christmas dinner to warm your belly up from the inside out. Yeah, so I've not yet. I've had a pretend Christmas, I suppose, or at least a mini Christmas in Australia when we last travelled out there. But yeah, it's a different kind of world over there. that's for sure. Right, I didn't have many in my tray that time for this colour because it was the last in the pot. But now they've all been used up. Oh, I actually have another pot. Okay, I have some bags still in here. So I'm going to switch over the pot, put the lid on the one I've emptied, take the sticker off so I know it has no diamonds in. And I'm back with a fresh pot. So let's tip a few in and see if we can multi-place some of this. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. She also says good tips for the flights. Yeah, hopefully that helps. I'm pretty sure I mentioned how Caris decides to sleep on a flight. But I actually spotted a reel the other day, I think it was on Instagram, with a tip for a flight that I wish I'd seen before I went. So I really can't get comfy on flights. I really can't sleep on flights at all. And it was only due to us having a missing seat, or not a missing seat, an extra seat between us. That meant that I could sleep a little bit on the way back. I think I've got about an hour, which is probably the longest I've ever gotten on a flight. But a lot of the time I struggle with sort of resting my feet. Like they say there's a footrest, but I can, whether it's just because I'm short, but I can never find the flipping thing and I can never get my feet comfy. But I saw a hack where somebody used the blanket that you get on long haul flights. So when it's a long haul flight where you're sort of expected to sleep, they give you a blanket and things, and they give you socks and a toothbrush and toothpaste and stuff. We take our own toothbrush and toothpaste because we're not particularly keen on the ones they give us, but it's a good backup. And I always put the aeroplane socks on because it makes my socks that I'm wearing feel less yucky when I'm going on the next flight. Always makes me feel a little bit better. They don't feel as, they're not been on my feet quite as long. But they used the blankets and tied it round the table, so the little drop down table. The drop down table, they brought it down, put the blanket round, tied a knot in the blanket, and then put the table back, and it gave like a little hammock for your feet to sit in. It's like, oh, that's gold. So if you're going on a long haul flight at all and you also don't know where to put your feet, try that with the blanket, because more often than not, I don't always use the blanket. And if you do end up with an extra seat in between you, you end up with an extra blanket anyway. Because they leave them out for they put them on all seats. So try that one. Okay, I'm now up to comments from this last Thursday's WIP and Waffle. So the one with all my tech dramas. But Cat Lady, she says, oh dear, she says, when computers go wrong, she says they take no prisoners. That is for sure. Like, it was the amount of time it sapped that really annoyed me. The amount of time it just took away from me getting other stuff done. Just so frustrating. She says she got soaked through on Monday. Oh, she says just going between her car and her destination. Yeah, when we get a downpour in the summer, it's a proper downpour, isn't it? She says a complete clothes change on return home. She says then she got 2 dry but cloudy days, including today. She says, but the tomorrow is the start of a week of wet and stormy. She says better weather comes for them on the 25th. Yeah, well, our weather was showing rain every day. But the likes of today, the rain was like this morning, like early hours of this morning. And now it's dry all day, but it's really, really muggy. Like the rain wasn't the good summer rain that clears the air. It just seems to have made it worse. So yeah, we're sort of taking the weather at one day at a time at the moment as to whether it's actually going to be dry in the day and raining at night or not. And so far it has been primarily raining at night. It just needs to cool the air down. That's what it needs to do. She says she's brought fabric for quilting. She says she has patterns. She has rulers, cutters, and a new machine. She says, but at the moment, the craft room is not working out to do quilting or sewing projects. Oh no. She says she needs more space. We always need more space, that's for sure. She says she's back to the square paper. She says she hopes that I get caught up and get some time to relax soon. Thank you. I actually use a mixture of the dining table in the conservatory and my drafting table in here when I'm sewing. So the drafting table, this diamond painting lives on there primarily. Sorry, I'm just checking for any missing H's. Yeah, this painting lives on there primarily. But when I'm quilting, I take this off and leave it here on my filming desk, and put my cutting mat on my drafting table, and it actually fits my drafting table really well. So I use that as my cutting station, and then use the dining table for sewing. And then I actually use the top of the unit that has my fabric in for ironing. So it's a very haphazard way of working, but I have sort of 3 areas. There's not a lot of time that I have to go from sewing to cutting, but of course there's a lot of time that I have to go from sewing to ironing. So my sewing and ironing are together, but my cutting is in here. It's only if I have to like square up a load of half square triangles that I may clear the dining table, like move the sewing machine off and sit out there to do a load of cutting, because I can do it sat down. But yeah, it does take up a fair bit of space, and I'm often having to move things about and clear different things up to do a different section of something. So yeah, I often, if I'm cutting for a quilt, I tend to do all my cutting in one session, just so that I, don't have to flip between the sections all the time. Liv's Dotting Den, she says she loves it when she gets to figure out something that's bugging you. She says she either Googles or YouTubes the problem. Yes, and I did a heck load of Googling. It just wasn't coming up with an answer that worked, which was really frustrating until this comment. Just this one comment, and it was like, and that is something that I'd done different between my normal videos and this one. So yeah, I was so happy to be able to actually finally get the aha comment that let me figure out what on earth was going on, and get it sorted and moving. It's just really frustrating that it didn't come up sooner in my Google. And then, of course, there was loads of solutions for my thumbnail problem yesterday. It just doesn't help if it's down company-wide. But yeah, there's often times that I've Googled something that's not so much a problem, like it doesn't stop me doing what I want to do. So for example, back when we first started printing the stickers, we'd create the file and get them all in a PDF and everything else, and that was great. All in a PDF. But then when we went to print them, we had to make sure that we told Preview, which is PDF reader on a Mac, we had to make sure that we told it to print at 100%, otherwise it didn't print right. All fine, occasionally we'd forget, but more often than not we'd catch it. And then one day I decided to Google if I could just make it do 100% straight off the bat, and found out I could. I had to put some fancy code in, but yeah, put the fancy code in to say, oi, I want this to always come up at 100%, and it was like, oh, great, just that one little bit just stopped me having to remember to do it every single time, which more often than not I did. It actually took me a while to get out of the habit, but yeah, sometimes finding a little a solution that can help you to have to, not complete a step every single time you go to do something can be great. So yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed that. Liv says, congratulations on your graduation, Catherine. Thank you, I'll let her know. Diana, she says, welcome back. She says she's glad that I enjoyed my trip. She says she's very close to her dad, she says, so she can imagine how special that trip was. It was a great trip, it really was. She says she's just watched the launch vlog, she says, and she really enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed making that. There's another vlog I want to make, just sort of catching up, like stock's got low on a few different bits, and I've got quite a few bits I need to sort on my list. And yeah, I'm kind of itching to do another vlog on all of that. I might have to do it tomorrow, ready for the week after. Now I can actually sort out the footage once it's done. She says she loves getting a sneak peek behind the scenes. She says she thinks she can speak for all of us. She says that it really makes them appreciate what we do, even when they see more of what goes on into it. And yeah, I love seeing behind the scenes, like that TV programme that used to be How It's Made. I love that. I love seeing how things, are made and put together and all the rest of it. And, there's a lot that, of course, you can never fully understand or see, especially when it comes to the amount of admin for running a business. Even just end of year, the amount of things to sort, and then my accountant takes over. But just if I had to do that as well, I think I'd go do Lally. But yeah, so it's hard to portray that stuff, but hopefully showing you guys glimpses into my days and all the other stuff that goes on sort of helps you realise. And that's probably why some things have been on my to-do list as things I would like to do a lot longer. Oh, I've actually finished. I thought I still had this top section to do, but I think I've done it already. Yeah, how some things can just end up on my to-do list for far too long is just getting round to it. getting round to it and getting my head round it so that it becomes something that's easier or quicker to do, especially when I want to set up something that's going to continue long term. She says, on another note, she says, speaking about the weather, which us Brits love to do, she says, when people think of Canada, she says they quickly picture snow, skiing, igloos and polar bears. She says, lol. She says, but let me tell you, she says, this summer has been filled to the brim with scorching hot days. She says 30 degrees plus. And with the humidity, she says we've been in the low 40s. She says, seems like as soon as you step outside, she says you hit a brick wall of heat and you can barely breathe. She says leather car seats are an ouch. She says a quick watering of the garden, she says, means a change of clothes and a shower. She says she actually wrung out her t-shirt. She says she doesn't like winter at all, and she does love the warm weather. She says, but this is insane. She says, anyway, she says, back to my dotting. She says, see you on the next vlog. See, I always think of Canada having weather that is similar to the UK, but extreme UK. So, like, you probably get the worst end of the deal, really, in regards to it. I know us Brits can moan a lot about the weather, but I think Canada gets the full scope of weather. So when you have summer, you have it hot and muggy like we do, and people don't realise, you know, that the level of heat we get, the level of humidity with the heat is what makes it unbearable. That's what makes us moan about it. Not that it's warm, it's the humidity that makes it an unbearable warm. It's just on a completely different level. There's loads and loads of reels and clips and stuff going around of a load of people apologising to the Brits for, you know, for dissing them for moaning about the weather or the heat, because they've now experienced it and they agree and all this sort of stuff. But yeah, I believe the Canadians get like the extreme like we do, summers and things. Theirs might even be a little bit more than ours are, a little bit more extreme. And then in winter, they get the winter on the extreme with the lots of snow, long-term snow, whereas at least in the UK, while we may get snow, it tends to come and go, doesn't tend to come and stay. So yeah, I think, to be fair, you guys probably have the most extreme variants of weather, a lot more than the UK do. So you probably have the right to moan even more than me, more than us. Lady Dax, she says she is hopeless with technology. She said it is the main thing that put her off from being a YouTuber. It is definitely a learning curve. It's like with anything new that you want to do. I find I've got loads of ideas of new things that I want to do, but it does take time to sort of get your head round how it works, and how you can make things work right and all the rest of it. And once you've got your head round it, it's all good. But yeah, it's a bit of a steep learning curve sometimes, getting things working, and it can be so frustrating. She says puppy Ty, she says, went back home to her son on Sunday. She says she'd like to say she's had a quiet rest. She says, but P Jelly has had other ideas. and they've been deep cleaning ever since. Oh my goodness me, in this muggy heat, what on earth? I mean, she can come up here and deep clean for me if she wants, and then you can have your rest and I can get a deep clean done. It's a little bit cooler up here as well. But yeah, that's probably something that's coming on my list soon, but not until this heat disappears and goes away, because it's just far too hot for that sort of stuff. She says she's looking forward to vlog part 2. She says they really enjoyed part 1. Glad you liked it. Glad I could get to the point it could actually get uploaded. That was my biggest fear at one point, is that I'd have all this footage and I was just going to have to delete it because it just wasn't playing the game, to try and have a hope of putting anything else up. Okay, I picked up 3 instead of 2, and I was trying to see if I had somewhere to put them, but I don't. So, ditch that off. Get a few more 2s down. And get these gaps filled in. Betty, so congratulations to Catherine on her accomplishment of finishing college. Oh, thank you. It's actually uni she's finished, university, which may be college where you're from actually. But yeah, college here is done between ages, like roughly ages 17 and 18. But yeah, she's just finished uni. She says, thanks, Rebecca, and have a lovely, blessed day. Oh, thank you. Rose also says congratulations to Catherine, which I will pass on. She's currently in the conservatory. She's actually been really, really helpful. It's amazing having a home instead of a uni. She's become chief washer of clothes. She's been in charge of the washing, making sure to get a couple of loads and things on. She did loads last week, and I was supposed to be chief sorter for people to put away. So just sorting it into piles for people to put away. Yeah, I did a week's worth at the beginning of this week. Beginning of the week just gone. I'm going to try and be better from now on in with actually sorting it out. But yeah, I just ended up letting it pile up. But yeah, she's been absolutely amazing getting all the washing done. Jen, she says, if you're thinking of doing a diamond painting quilting design, she says you may want to have a look at some of Carolyn Manning's cross-stitch designs. She says it may help with some ideas. Thank you. I'll have a quick look. I normally try not to go particularly hunting for other people's cross-stitch, because I don't want to be too influenced by someone's design style, and I want to know it's come sort of straight from my head. But when it comes to quilting designs, it might be nice to just have an overall quick 2-minute look, and then come away and let it fester in my brain for a little bit as the sort of concept of what would work, and go from there. But yeah, I'm excited to get some more designs done. I'm not sure when that will be. I do have a few in reserve that we may end up getting at some point. We're just going to see how these ones go for now, and the ones that we've got sat waiting, which I'm very excited to get my mitts on looking at properly. I'm just going to copy that name into a note so I actually remember. Kim, she says she's so glad that I finally found the solution to the video fiasco. Oh, yeah, so am I. I could have just done with it on the Friday. She says, things like this, she says, make hubby say, and they want cars to drive themselves. Yes, when technology can go wrong with just such a small thing in effect, or not be able to tell you. I think that's the most frustrating thing, is if it turned around and said, okay, error because of this, then fair enough, I can then fix this. It's when it doesn't tell me why it's doing it that it gets frustrating. She says, as you can gather, she says, hubby is not tech savvy, she says, or friendly. Bless him. But yeah, some things I can figure out and be, you know, to a certain point, fairly technical over in the grand scheme of things. And other things, it's a big fat nope. I think a lot of it depends on what sort of frame of mind I'm in at the time. If I'm in a frame of mind to sort of sort something out and figure something out, then great. But if I'm not, sometimes I just need to walk away. Like I cannot be doing with technology at that time. Especially when I know we lived life fine without it. Just gets frustrating as anything. Kim, she also says, she did wonder if the heat wave was the reason for my absence on YouTube. She says it would have been her reason for sure. Yeah, a little bit of the two. I actually planned to film the Sunday WIP and Waffle on the Friday, which is what I'm doing today. So I planned to film it on the Friday. And it would have been filmed if I hadn't have had that glitch that then rolled into Saturday, and then the heat came with it. And yeah, it just became unbearable to think about. It's actually getting quite warm in here now, but I'm kind of determined to get to the end of the comments / finish as much of this little section of the tree as I can. All this will have to get done later, but that's a lot of multi-placing, so maybe it'll make me actually get some of this diamond painting done later on today, and I'll just sit this evening and actually get through the next bit. Okay, let's see if we can get a couple of bits of multi-placing done. She says, just an FYI, she says she did get her Diamond Art Studio floral surprise completed. Oh, go you. She says, and she loves it. She says she has enjoyed the whole chart to art process. Yes, me too. It's the process as much as anything that I love. Don't get me wrong, I love the images. And I'm so looking forward to doing the one that I've just inboxed, the ghosts doing stuff. I'm really, really looking forward to doing that one because I think they are just adorable. And I'm not a huge Halloweeny person either. Like, I don't know whether I consider it Halloweeny. Possibly is. But yeah, it's one of those slight exceptions to the rule. It's like in general, I don't tend to like doing people and figures as much. I tend to prefer either abstract or scenes more than I prefer doing like cartoony type characters, but there is the odd exception. So I did Mother Earth, which I absolutely love doing, and I've got a Peter Pan one that's also got like cartoon type people in it, and I think this ghost doing stuff is sort of my Halloween exception to the rule, because yeah, I just think they're adorable. and not a lot of Halloween ones sort of catch my attention or attract me to them, but those ghosts are just, they're just adorable. So yeah, I can't wait to do them. Inga, she says computer problems, she says, can sure be frustrating. She says, but the relief of feeling accomplished when you figured it out, she said, must have been extra great. Yes-ish. I think because it went on for so long, this one, there was definitely huge relief at figuring it out, but also huge frustration at how long it took. If I'd have found that, I think, on the Saturday when I was like, okay, let's give this a second go and let's do the full-on Google searches and figure it out. I think if I'd have found it out then, it might have been all right. I'd got to the point, you see, where I'd started splitting up the videos and having to do a lot of messing about and pulling them apart to try and get them to work. So, yeah, I think the fact that I'd started all that process and then figured out that that process wasn't helping and I actually had to undo all of that progress, all of that process to then make it work, I think that was the frustrating part more so, because I hate redoing work. I don't mind putting the time in if that had been the fix, was to, you know, pull everything apart and do it in separate sections. I would have had no problem putting that work in to make that happen. But the fact that the solution didn't involve that and I had to go backwards, that's what annoyed me. Right, I am going to leave that one there because I have got to the end of the comments questions and we are on over an hour. And I've sort of allotted myself an hour to film this. So while we've reached that goal, the tree is mainly done. I mean, from a distance, you probably can't tell anyway. Like, it's pretty much sorted. And I'll try and get the rest of that done at some point. But thank you all so much for watching, and I'll speak to you all again soon.